Good morning, good afternoon, everybody, our esteemed speakers and participants, and welcome back to the Global Virtual Exchange Summit. Today is 28th of August on a Wednesday morning or evening. My name is Zainiyah, Norita Binti Mokhtar. I am from International Islamic University, Malaysia. And we'll kick off the whole session with me as the moderator. I'm also presenting. I know. I'll start the presentation first, and then just to remind everybody has like about 15 minutes to each of their sessions, and then we're going to save the Q&A until the end of everybody's presentation. Would that be all right?
That's fine.
Okay, we are all given the the access to share our documents. If there's any glitches, please do let us know. Maggie is here to help us with the technical. Maggie is our technical support, so she will be here to assist us if there's anything or any glitches or mishap to our presentation today. Hopefully everything will be good, and I will pray for the best. All right, good luck and all the best to everybody. Right, so I'm gonna go first. So let's just start with my presentation. Let me just share my slide with everybody. Is my slide okay? Can everybody see it?
Not yet. Okay.
Right. Okay. I'm having a bit of a network issue here. It's like they've got notification popping up saying that my network connection is a bit low in terms of quality. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to switch off my is it okay? Let me just give it a try. Right. I'm going to switch off my video so that it won't disrupt my presentation. All right. Is that all right, Maggie? Or is that not allowed?
All right.
Okay, we'll try with the video on. I feel bad. Okay, anyways, right. So this is my topic, leveraging behavioral cultural intelligence, that is like CQ, cultural cohesion in promoting inclusion. So it's a collaborative approach to developing an advertisement for McDonald's new product by students from Shenandoah University and International Islamic University, Malaysia. So a little bit of a background of what the whole thing is, how the whole thing works. It's actually like a collaboration. We call it COIL. I'm sure everybody's familiar with COIL, the Collaborative Online International Learning. So my partner is actually Dr. Kelly Clowerly from Shenandoah University. She's not here today, but I'm like representing both of us at this point of time. So it's actually like this actually took place like 3 years ago. So we did an analysis of that, and then this is how it is, and this is how it works. So we look into the inclusion, actually, how everybody works, how every managed to work with each other. And then this actually icon actually represent what our project is all about. So next. Okay, let me just go through the next slide. Oh, it's not moving. It's moving very slowly. So a bit of a background of what is behavioral culture intelligence with regards to CQ. So it refers to the ability to adapt one's behavior to different cultural contexts effectively. So we're looking at the two groups that we've worked on are Malaysian Asian students and then the American students from Shenandoah University. So they have like a very different background from each other. And then its behavior CQ actually focuses on the practical application of cultural knowledge, enabling individuals to interact in culturally appropriate ways. So this one, how we enable them to meet and get together is we sort of like we assign them to work on the coming up with a new product for McDonald's, because we feel that McDonald's is something like everybody is familiar with regardless of your background, because I think like everybody has these franchises in their community. So we sort of like try to see whether that would work if like they're both familiar with what they're working on. So the dimension of CQ is considered like very important, especially for McDonald's, because they have franchises all over the world. So this is basically their what you call niche area in terms of wherever they are, they actually integrated the local cuisine into their menu. Right. So what happened? So in terms of like why it's important to promote inclusion, basically I've just mentioned that it's sort of like try to gauge towards creating a content that reflects and respect the diversity of the target audience. So in terms of what McDonald's has done, I mean, like with all the menus that they have actually created, they would have like one specific that is very much localized. So this is what we have in mind in terms of like see whether our students are able to actually get gauge towards getting that into their project. So the idea of inclusive advertising not only broadens the appeal of brand, but also fosters a sense of belonging among consumers from different cultural background. So this is what McDonald's been doing. Am I going too fast, or is that all right for everybody? Is everybody okay? Right, okay. So this is how it works, the collaborative process between the two of us, the IIUM and the Shenandoah University. We asked them to look into this one particular case study, and then the students brought their expertise, one from the Western marketing strategies, while the IIUM looked into the understanding of Malaysian culture and Islamic values. So together they work on developing that project with a strong emphasis on inclusivity. And then how it is done with regards to how this is made what do you call obvious or significant in the study is that we look into the cultural research and sensitivity. So how they work for it is actually they look into understanding the cultural norms, the values of the consumer, both in the United States and Malaysia. And then they identify cultural sensitivities in ensuring that the advertisement would be inclusive. So what we have here is like, for instance, in Malaysia, the majority of the population are Muslim, and the advertisement needed to be aligned to the Islamic principles. And then like certain foods are prohibited, and then the importance of modesty and whatnot. So this has been actually portrayed in their project, of which like I have a video that hopefully I can play it on, and then you can actually witness what they have actually created. And then like inclusive creative development. So during the creative development phase, the students with high behavioral CQ played a key role in ensuring that the ideas generated were inclusive. So they involve adapting concepts to fit both cultural contents and then cultural appropriate language, and incorporating visual elements that will resonate with diverse audiences. For example, the advertisement needed to appeal to both American and Malaysian consumers, which required a careful balance of cultural symbols and messaging. And then to continue, yeah, this is a video. I hope I can play it for you in a bit. Cross-cultural communication looks into the effectiveness of how they communicate in terms of like working with this kind of a project. So students navigate the differences in communication styles, address misunderstanding, and ensure that all voices were heard during the decision-making process. So it not only promote inclusion, but also rely very much on cultural sensitivity. So the feedback and refinement of what is done here is like they actually went through the feedback, they were encouraged to give feedback. And then from their perspective, and with students with high CQ, facilitated the discussion and then integrated diverse viewpoints. So the iterative process allowed the team to refine the advertisements to better reflect the values and preferences of both the Americans and the Malaysian audiences. I think we have time, don't we, like Maggie?
You still have 3 minutes for your presentation.
Right. Okay. So
Yeah.
3 minutes. I'll just show you like a little bit of video. Since you only have 3 minutes, the video is actually 5 minutes. Oh, sorry. So just show them like a little bit of what they have done. Is it there yet? Can you see the video? Not yet.
Yeah, it rests now.
Malaysian comfort, American adventure.
Ever wonder how nasi lemak is made? First, you need to have rice cooked in coconut milk,
So I'll just where
served as one of the side dishes.
So how we came up with this idea? Let me tell you. For the menu, we came out with a food that is called nasi lemak in Malaysia.
Right.
Biggest chain of restaurants that they have in America.
Students here as well.
More comfortable with what they already know. Not all people love to try new things, and they like to stick with what they already know and what they're comfortable with. And it is also common to see younger people discovering new cultures and new things from around the world.
By promoting our food in America, it may open doors for them to get new insights about our country, our culture, and our society.
Line for our product in 8 words or less is nasi lemak, Malaysian comfort, American adventure. We believe this highlights the food well as the differences between the two cultures and why people in America should try it because of the 2 words, comfort and adventure. Malaysia has been described to me. Nasi lemak is a food of comfort. It's very familiar, very widely accepted throughout the region. However, it's a little bit different than our traditional American food. By including the word adventure, it presents...
Right, we'll stop there. I'll try and wrap up my presentation. I'll go back to the slide that I've showed you earlier. Just going back and forth is like really taxing, isn't it? Bear with me, sorry. Is it there? Right, okay. So coming back to the slide, so in terms of like what they have gone through, it's very much what do you call not right to not somehow highlight what are the things that actually create frictions or challenges that they had to face during the time when they were working on this project. So of course, I think like everybody who has been involved with COIL, I think like we have this we are actually facing it now, like differences in terms of like time zone, like America, the United States and Malaysia is like 12 hours apart. And then we also have like cultural perceptions as well as communication styles sometimes led to friction and misunderstanding. And then that goes without saying. And then, but however, I think like when we look into like students with high behavioral CQ, they are able to overcome these challenges in terms of like they make jokes and then just sort of like get the whole tone really harmonious and relaxed. And even when they do have what do you call misunderstandings, they try to work it out as much as they can possibly can. So the conclusion to this particular paper of mine is like we look into the collaboration in terms of like when they were developing this advertisement, we look into how they behave towards each other and then how they manage to overcome all the challenges that I've mentioned earlier. Now with regards to conflicts and with decision making and whatnot. So all in all, this case study underscores the importance of including this CQ, especially when we look into the global marketing strategies, we look into like global citizenship. It somehow looks into like how these people were able to actually talk to each other, share each other's opinion, share each other's cultural background, and come up with something really inclusive for everybody to understand and promote. Okay, and then with that, I end my session. Thank you very much. So that's my a little bit of the references that I've used in order to come up with this paper, and then we'll save the Q&A late for later. Thank you very much. Right. Okay, that's me out of breath. Okay, we shall continue with our second panelist, Dr. Atiah Sidek. I'll stop sharing so that she can share her document. Right. So Atiah, if you could introduce yourself and then proceed with your presentation, we will be very grateful. Thank you. Over to Atiah.
Right. Is the slide okay?
Yep, it's good.
All right. Assalamualaikum, greetings of peace. Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. My name is Atiah Sidek, and I am from School of Engineering at International Islamic University, Malaysia. So today I'll be sharing with you my experience of using humor to enhance equality, access, and inclusion in global virtual exchange through COIL. Right. The journey began in December 2020 as part of the first batch of Brzezinski project for virtual international exchange. So this initiative was launched by Shenandoah University to bring together universities in the United States with those in Muslim majority countries, specifically then in Malaysia and Bosnia. So the training was ran from 2020 to March 2021. And we each being assigned a partner from which we would train together and then have our student to work together on joint project. So I was paired with Professor Eddie Dewey from Bridgewater College as part of this COIL collaboration. And from the beginning, it was evidence that we come from different worlds. I come from engineering background, left brain, STEM focus, and also a Muslim. In contrast, Eddie rooted in communication, journalism, right brain, and liberal arts thinker, and also a Christian. So these academic and religion differences were just the tip of the iceberg, as we also had cultural, linguistic differences to consider as well. So anyway, let me share a moment that truly set the tone of our collaboration. As an introvert, I'm quite nervous about corresponding with new people. So Eddie's first reply came with this photo. Herself with a cat on the head. And it completely unexpected and instantly brought a smile to my face. So this simple humorous gesture lightened the mood right from the start and showed that despite our different background, laughter could be a universal bridge. So this moment actually set the tone of our entire COIL collaboration, and proving that humor can connect us even when we start at the different point of view. Now, this quote here ties directly into the incongruity theory, which suggests that humor, especially when unexpected, can bridge the gap between anxiety and acceptance. It's this kind of shared laughter that can transform a potentially tense situation into a positive collaborative experience, setting the stage for a successful partnership. So our experience of navigating these differences is not unique to us as a lecturer. So it is also reflected to the challenge that our students would soon face in their own collaboration. So just as Eddie and I had to bridge cultural, linguistic, religious, academic differences, our student coming from diverse background in Malaysia and also United States will be confronted with the same issue. So needing to find a common ground and build connection in order to collaborate effectively is in need. So connecting minds, crossing borders, and cultivating understanding through the power of virtual collaboration. So as we move forward, I'll provide an overview of how we structured our course to achieve these goals that I've just mentioned. So this diagram here illustrates the structure of our COIL project. So the students are divided into mixed group that combine participants from both institutions, and each tasked to select a different SDG topic to explore and develop as their project. So our COIL project is structured as a 4-week course. Eddie and I would like to call it COIL Light. So this format was designed by Eddie and I to bridge the diverse academic background of students from Malaysia and the United States, while all focusing on SDG. And you might wonder why 4 weeks. Well, in our second year, we experimented in 5 weeks. We think that 4 weeks format worked the best. The momentum is just right for maintaining the enthusiasm and ensuring that the collaboration remains effective and meaningful. So this slide here showcase examples of the 3-year collaboration between Adi and me on the student project centered around SDG 12, SDG 3, and also SDG 2 as shown here. Anyway, the challenge in the initial collaboration and what we see in our first year, we encounter significant challenge that impacted our student ability to communicate and engage effectively. So feedback from the student highlighted issue that it was hard to communicate properly, difficult to breaking the ice, they are so quiet. And this comment revealed a real struggle in building connection, especially for my student who tend to be a little bit more reserved and shy when it comes to initiating interaction. So it became evidence that the primary issue was the barrier to communicate and engage, which was hindering the overall effectiveness of the COIL. So recognizing this, we realized that the challenge were necessary to create a more supportive and interactive online environment where students could feel could feel more comfortable to participate. So this is the student feedback result from year 1. All right. Now, in response to the challenges that we faced during our initial collaboration, especially the difficulties in communication and engagement, we knew that we have to make changes. Yeah. So the feedback make it clear the students struggling to connect. So we decided to design a simple yet effective activity to address this issue. Our solution was to use humor as a tool for engagement. So given that we have 4 weeks, very short time, to engage our COIL student, Adi and I need to think a quick but meaningful way to get them interacting. That's why we create a special quiz which become one of our primary tools for engagement. And to make it more interesting and engaging, we turned the quiz into a competition between the group. It was divided into 2 main parts, each designed to encourage collaboration and cross-cultural engagement within this short time frame. So the competition element added excitement and motivation, making the student even more eager to participate. All right, so they are separated into 2 parts. The first part is where the quiz focus on learning about each other countries and institutions. This is some of the example. They have more. The national symbol, the local culture, food, national birds, animals, all those trivia. And then the question about each other university campuses, founding year, the values, the social media presence of the university, and this question helps students explore similarities and differences, building a foundation of understanding. Part 2 introduced a more interactive and fun element. So students were challenged to perform a tongue twister in which they created a lot of laughter, but also helped breaking down language barriers. I give you an example. In here, the IIUM student have to record this tongue twister in English, and then the Bridgewater, the United States student, have to say it in Malay. So this is an example of
how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Sebanyak mana kayu yang boleh dicabut tikus jika tikus boleh mencabut kayu?
These are the best. So it will be more funnier if it is not. So anyway, the second one, we also had a silly face group photo activity where students took fun group photo together, fostering a sense of teamwork and shared experience. Now, our quiz wasn't just about fostering engagement. It is also closely tied to the SDG 10 and also SDG 16. So by encouraging students from diverse backgrounds to collaborate and learn from each other, we are actively working towards reducing inequality. So this quiz activity, like learning about each other cultures, institutions, help break down barriers and create a more inclusive environment where every student voice could be heard. At the same time, Through the activity like tongue twister challenge, silly face group photos, we foster trust and understanding among the student. So one of the most rewarding outcome from our COIL project has been a lasting connection that the student have formed. So even after official course ended, many of the students continue to communicate with their peers. So I've been told some of my students, this connection have led to new opportunities for international collaboration. So impact of it that I believe humor play a critical role in student engagement. When students laugh together, it helps them connect on a deeper level. So as you can see from the feedback, the inclusion of humorous element increased 93%, making it one of the most enjoyed activity in the COIL project. Additionally, team dynamics improved by 91% as the student able to connect and collaborate more effectively through fun and interactive activities. And this result actually highlight how humor not only makes learning more enjoyable, but also strengthen the bond among them. So this also highlights some key feedback that we received. The quotes reflect student appreciation for the quiz, and many mentioned that they enjoyed competing in the group quiz and learning about each other culture. So this experience not only make the learning process more enjoyable, but also help them feel more connected with their peers. In conclusion, we see that integrating humor into our teaching doesn't just make the classroom more lively, but it transforms into a space where students and educators truly collaborate. As this presentation concludes, it becomes clear that, at least in our case, humor is more than just a way to add fun to learning. It is a powerful bridge that connects students across diverse culture and background. So humor has shown its ability to break down barriers, deepen engagement, and foster a collaborative environment where learning drives. Laughter as a universal language also play a crucial role in success of this cross-cultural collaboration. So moving forward, I hope that humor can continue to connect, inspire, and create an environment where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. Actually, do we still have time, or have
No, actually, we don't. Thank you, Dr. Atiah.
All right,
We can
thank you
actually
very
come
much.
back to this later on if we have more time.
Yeah, but is it possible if I share with all of you the YouTube link in the chat box, so you can watch it at your convenience? It will give you a sense on how laughter can ease tension and bring people together, making, you know, even the most daunting task a little bit more manageable.
Okay.
All right.
I think that's about all the time we have with Dr. Atiah. Thank you so much for the presentation. Just a quick housekeeping thingy that somehow I think I've just realized. We could actually, if you could actually, the rest of the speakers, if you could actually turn on your chat box, I will put in like reminders as to the time that you have, the length of the time for your presentation that you have. If is that possible, because earlier I didn't notice that. Now that I noticed that it's in the chat box, so it would be very good if everybody's like very much sensitive to what we have, to the notification that we would put forward in the chat box. Right. Okay. So without wasting more time, we have the next speaker. Who's the next speaker? Sorry. Is it? Okay, I've lost my list. Maggie, are you still
Dr.
there?
Liu should be the next presenter. Dr.
Who's
Liu, please.
Dr. Liu? Yeah, okay, Dr. Liu Yulan. Thank you. Apologies because suddenly my list disappeared. So over to you. The floor is yours. Thank you very much.
So maybe I introduce a little bit. Thank you, Dr. Liu.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So she's from Howard Community College. Thank you so much. From the US.
Okay, Dr. Khoza is going to start our co-presentation. Go ahead, Dr. Khoza. You're
Dr. Khoza,
muted.
yeah.
You're muted.
Thank you.
Does everybody see the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's there.
Okay. So thank you, everybody. I'd like to share by starting to share with you our presentation on equality, access, inclusion in global exchange at Howard Community College. Just a little bit about Howard Community College. We are located in Columbia, Maryland. It's located between Baltimore and Washington, D.C. A lot of people know about Washington, D.C., but we are in the northeast region of the country. So the county of Howard is ranked as affluent, advanced, and a relatively highly educated community. So it has the advantage of providing access to educational and healthcare institutions, recreation, retailers, and entertainment opportunities. It has a welcome business environment and enables all these agencies to be in the vicinity of Howard, Fortune 500 companies, technology, defense, and healthcare companies. So just by sharing these characteristics, you can see that it is a convenient location for students to access an education. So what we have at Howard Community College is the mantra of meeting students where they dream. So we want our students to know that they can come to the college and dream and aspire to be whatever they want to be within the 2-year period that they are with us in terms of getting a degree or a certificate programs. I have listed there the academic areas that focus on foundational learning, liberal studies, healthcare, science, technology. We also have a workforce, career, and community education division. Our faculty ratio is 19:1, and all the courses our students take transfer to 4-year institutions. The majority of the students do attend Maryland institutions. Some go beyond the state. We do have over 13,000 credit enrolled students as of 2023, and 17.7% of our students come from the local high schools. Dr. Yulan will also share a bit more about the makeup of her classes in there. And we do have just over 104 countries represented in the student body. So all this to share that the community that we have is diverse, and we're able to help our students get to where they need to in terms of their experiences. So COIL at Howard Community College was formally established through a grant through the National Endowment of the Humanities, and this is a grant that is funded by the federal government. It has engaged over 200 students and 10 faculty over the last 2 years. An update to that is more 500 students and close to 30-some courses have been presented through the COIL format. We have global partners from around the world: Brazil, Denmark, China, Hong Kong, China, Ecuador, Venezuela, and Dr. Liu will focus on the partners that we are working with currently. So in this instance, COIL is fostered by equity is fostered by developing COIL projects within our HCC General Education core curriculum. So our students can take COIL classes, they don't have to pay anything additional. So it allows that equity in terms of access. So students of all backgrounds and programs can participate in this very important project. So for this, we're going to share with you the best practices. We hope to initiate dialogue. As we've learned, we're going to be sharing information at the end of all our presentations. And hopefully we'll be able to build collaborations with future partners so that we can continue to provide global experiences for our students, which is very key here. So Dr. Liu.
Okay, and Dr. Khoza, thank you for the Dr. Khoza, do you want to stop sharing? It might be easier if I share my part from my side. It might be easier for me to talk, right? Since the time is really crunchy, right? Well, thank you, Dr. Khoza, for sharing the background of our COIL practice at our college. As Dr. Khoza said, you know, we at our college, we have a faculty member come from different academic field. We offer COIL courses for our students. So I started COIL practice since 2022. So okay, let me go back here, okay. I'm very fortunate to have two COIL partner schools. So one of them, my first COIL partner was Professor Zhou from Beijing Mining Technology University, and was my first COIL partner. I've been doing the COIL activity with her since 2022. And it's summertime. And also my second COIL partner is Professor Lo from actually Hong Kong Baptist University. We did that since this is springtime. All right, so let me just go over a few things what we did. So when I did with my COIL practice with Professor Zhou in Beijing, the dimension and the intellectual competency, including knowledge, skill of interpreting and relating, skills of discovering interaction and attitude, cultural, the critical cultural awareness and education. Because my student, well, Professor Zhou from Beijing is from the law school of Beijing Mining Technology University. But my student at HCC, they are enrolled in my classes for language acquisition. So the focus of our collaboration with Beijing was the culture exchange. For my student, because their focus is language acquisition, so my COIL partner in Beijing and I, we discuss about what kind of language should they use with their interaction. Because our two schools, we have a different focus. So we decided student in my area and a student from Beijing, they use 50% of time using English and 50% of time they use Chinese, so that both school, the student can be beneficial through their interaction. So we did some icebreaker activities. We identify product and practice popular with the peers in a targeted culture, and they compare the product and the practices to something popular in their own life or relate to their own culture, such as hobbies, family, hometown, and tourism. And then a student can ask question, answer question, identify particular practices or popular products within their peers through their interactions. Now, because many people might know, you know, our interaction with the student in Beijing, we want to give students some freedom, yet we do want to avoid any topic that be too sensitive. So we set a parameter, you know, certain activities and topics, and they starting with introduce to each other, talk about themselves, family, school life, hometown, things they like or dislike to do, tourism and fashion. And so student, their focus, students are reminded their focus is to discuss or explore the cultural practices and the cultural product through their interactions. So there are some comparison analysis. Students, they work as a pair, and also because student in our class in the United States, our classes are kind of small, but in China and Beijing, the university school classes, they're much bigger. So originally we try to pair student as pair, but gradually become a small group instead of a pair. So student are paired, you know, they are all arranged into small group to explore the cultural practices. And then there are some examples of students through their interaction. They ask each other questions, and then they share their discovery, and then sometimes they are encouraged to ask each other questions and help each other to answer some questions. Okay, and then starting spring 2024. I connected with Hong Kong Baptist University with Professor Lo, the Professor Law, the film professor. So we started this COIL pilot activity. So the objectives was to create a platform that connect our two institutions to facilitate a collaborative learning experience among students from both sides of our both college and from the different country. Our purpose was to promote a deeper understanding of a global issue and the cultures through student interactions. And also we envision to enhance participants' teamwork, communication skill, and the intercultural skills to foster cross-disciplinary collaboration on project of mutual interest. We're also hoping to encourage the exchange of knowledge, idea, and best practices among the participants at the two colleges, right? So because Professor Low was a film professor and I am a linguist, I teach language. So through our discussion, we decided to choose a film. That In the Mood for Love, many Chinese people know the movie very well. And then through watching the movie, students both sides watching the movie, aim to facilitate collaborative learning and a culture exchange between the Chinese culture classes and then the specific topic in the film class from Professor Low's class. So we choose this Chinese movie, hoping to through this movie to embody the cultural elements and some historical context. And many Chinese people, and especially this is a Hong Kong movie, and people know that movie was produced in Hong Kong, very well known. We did some group discussions. Through the discussions to facilitate introductions within the group, encourage students to share their cultural background, interest, and their prior knowledge of the Chinese culture or the film, and also to determine a suitable date. So before we actually launch into this COIL pilot, we discussed together, the two professors, to determine a suitable date and timing for the joint discussion session. And some of you already know that in the beginning of this session, we said we are exactly 12 hours opposite. So determining timing that worked for both sides of the student was very important. So the guided discussion topic including and to encourage students to relate these elements to their respective class subject, fostering interdisciplinary connection, and also encourage students to think critically, engage in culture integrated, dedicated segments within the discussion to allow students to share the elements of their own culture, tradition, or personal experiences relate to the film. We've noticed students, because they come from the diverse background, diverse interests, and then the discussion became very, very broad. I will share some example of their discussion. So we, when I did the COIL practice with Beijing, we use Zoom, email, and mainly the WeChat. With Professor Low in Hong Kong, we used the Padlet. So through the Padlet, student.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Dr. It's so sorry to interrupt your presentation, but we have like another presenter after this. Can you please just read out for us to proceed? Thank you so much.
Sure. Definitely, we'll go faster. So these are some samples of a student's interaction on the Padlet, and there's no way we can share all of them. We've noticed that the COIL practice, the time, the duration is important. With Beijing and with Hong Kong, we had a different periods of timing. We've noticed that too long is not workable, but too short is not sufficient. So technology was a glitches and challenging for us. We are still exploring what's the best technology in the future. So our takeaway are quite some. Students had a lot of sharing. In the future, we may able to share a little bit more of this. So, and then Dr. Khoza prepared these slides, tell us the COIL future is in our students' hands. And thank you so much for your time. And we looking forward to hear more from you. Okay, there you go.
Thank you, Dr. Liu. That's very insightful. And we'll go to the next. Our next speaker is Dr. Diego Prado Perez. So, Dr. Diego, are you ready? So, okay, the floor is yours. If you could start with your with introducing yourself so that everybody would, get to know you more.
Sure, thank you so much. Hi everyone, my name is Diego and I will be co-presenting with Dr. Laura Rampazzo, who is also here today, and we're actually going to talk to you about how we have implemented virtual exchange and we have opened then different opportunities for students in our communities and in our universities to expand their horizons and also to have an international experience by not leaving their home country. Laura, if you don't mind, please let's move on.
Dr. Perez, we can hardly hear you.
Oh,
if you
okay.
can somehow increase your
Yeah,
volume,
give me just
is
one
that all
second.
right?
Is it better now?
Or is it just me, or is everybody okay?
I can hear him well.
Yeah, we can hear fine.
Oh, okay. I think that's mine then. Okay, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, Dr. Perez.
Don't worry, thank you so much. Laura, would you like then to introduce yourself and then share with us the agenda?
Of course, thank you, Diego. So, good evening from Brazil. Good morning, good afternoon. I am Laura. I'm from São Paulo State University in Brazil. And for today, this is what we have planned to talk about. So we're going to present a brief introduction of the Brazilian and Mexican institutional contexts. Then we'll go over an overview of virtual exchange at both institutions. We're going to discuss a little bit the partnership between Brazil and Mexico, present some of the projects that we have developed and some outcomes, and also present a reflection on moving forward, what are the challenges and possibilities that we have ahead. So just a disclaimer, I guess, about this presentation. It mostly accounts for a partnership that was established between us in the period of 2021-2023. And they were when we were employed at a public educational institution in Brazil and a private one in Mexico. So we'll be talking about a different institution from the one that I am at for most of the presentation. And then at the end, we'll talk a little about the initiatives that we have been developing in this year. Diego, do you want to talk a little
Sure.
about Mexico and then go back and talk about Brazil?
Perfect. So what we are doing at Universidad Latina de America is basically trying to increase in the options for our students to enjoy international experiences. Here we are known then for being a university that encourages students to go abroad and study in other countries. And we do send a lot of them every semester, but not many of them have chances then of doing that because it's quite expensive. So what we have done then as a private university is just to think about the possibilities of including virtual exchange as an option for them to enjoy these experiences at home. Laura, what about Brazil?
I'm sorry. Here in Brazil, we have a similar picture, I guess. It is, as I said, a public institution. It's a multi-level institution, actually. So we offer secondary, technician, and higher education. And the emphasis has been on professional education, teacher education as well, and also on the promotion of extension programs, as we call them, which are short-term courses and projects that are open to the external community. So people that are not within the university can participate and take part in the the activities that the university offers. We are also a multi-campus institution, and most of the campuses are in inland cities, which means that we are spread all over the place. And it also makes harder for students to just travel and have the opportunity to connect with people. Brazil is a huge country, and we speak Portuguese in Latin America, where everyone else is speaking Spanish. And our learners in particular would not have the opportunity of engaging in cross-cultural communication unless virtual exchange was considered. So this is also why we encourage virtual exchange. So talking a little bit about the picture for virtual exchange at the Brazilian institution, we could say that it is mostly concentrated on language learning, and the majority of the documented initiatives at this specific institution follow the tandem model, where we have bilingual exchanges that are aimed at language learning. So for example, we would have a learner in Brazil connecting with a learner in Mexico, and they would be helping each other with the learning of Portuguese and Spanish, which are the languages that we speak in our countries. As I said before, extension programs are highly encouraged here, and virtual exchange is mostly promoted through extension. It's not integrated into the classroom, so we have not been using the term COIL for this specific, for considering the whole picture, right? For the specific virtual exchanges. It is mostly promoted through extracurricular activities that are open to the community outside the university as well. We would say it is more localized actions, efforts of single teachers. It's not promoted through an institutional program. It's not top down, but bottom up. And it is the result of the efforts of single teachers. And there is no funding. No institutional funding or even equipped computer labs. So even though we are targeting these students who could not otherwise have cross-cultural opportunities, we can still, or we could, for that time, we could not provide them with the places, the computers, the equipment to engage in virtual exchange. Either we would have to rely on their own equipment.
Yeah, and the same goes here in our institution. Basically, well, as I was saying at the beginning, then we're looking then for students to have more international experiences without leaving their campus. And then we know then that so we have been doing this in English and Spanish and Portuguese. We're including more students these days because many of the COIL initiatives and also like the virtual exchange programs that we have were in English. But now knowing then that there were some students with language limitations, and some of them couldn't have like the language proficiency in English to participate or engage even in academic mobility. We were thinking then about implementing programs such as this one in Spanish, which is then the mother tongue of most of our students, and then in Portuguese, which is one of the foreign languages that is very common here in our country to be studied. So that has helped us to think about different options of projects of like Teletandem, as Laura mentioned. Also, this one is a project in our university that has no funding as well. And then it's an initiative of the International Office. Then with this in mind, then we're looking then to have more students engaged. And then most of them are volunteers. So we just then have them extend the invitation to participate. And then we're hoping then to have them in integrated classes, which is then something that we're working as part of this international strategy that we have for implementing and including COIL and virtual exchange in our curriculum. And then in the next slide, then we have just like worked with Laura for several years, and as you can see, then our partnership began in 2021. But then also we started with some pilots in 2022 with some of the projects that were like the language exchange. And then we were really open for this, and then we decided then to test some of these ideas, and then at the end we consolidated some of these projects, focusing our experiences for our students then on language exchange and cultural exchange, both learning from Mexico and Brazil. And this has led then to virtual mobility classes, then a program that we have at Universidad Latina de America, and also then physical mobility to Mexico, which we're hoping now that students from Mexico go to Brazil, that would actually then make this whole cycle then complete. Laura, you don't mind the movie? And this is just like a few pictures then of some of the students then that have come from Brazil, and then also a few of our students then have joined our virtual programs. After this collaboration, then we have implemented this program, and then it has been really effective. And now our students from Mexico interact with different cultures, and now they have visitors in our country. Laura, go ahead.
So, thank you. So to provide you with an overview of the projects that we have developed, as Diego was saying, we started the first virtual exchange pilots in 2022. And back then we had 44 learners participating. And these projects were promoted using English as a lingua franca. We also had okay, 4 more minutes. Thank you for letting us know. We also had in 2023 telethunding exchanges, which are basically bilingual funding exchanges, as I was saying before. And we also had, given that in both institutions, we had high school learners attending school. We also had telethunding by teens, where we had teenagers engaging in virtual exchange, so students from secondary education. And also we had an additional online podcast program as in an integrated class. It was developed using Portuguese and English, and maybe Diego, I don't know if you can share the link later into the chat box. That would be very nice. So for some of the outcomes here, we had connected over these 2 years over 120 learners, including some faculty members, which we'll talk a little bit more later. Overall, we had positive project evaluation for all programs, high engagement levels, even though there were some absences and the need to reorganize groups in sessions, which we need to consider moving forward.
And definitely there are some challenges, but also some possibilities as we are implementing this. We want them to ensure them participation. So we want to issue certificates or badges or even credits for students to be more motivated to continue their participation, and also to increase then the number of participants by actually then thinking of different projects that include more languages. That way we can cater some projects to specific students' needs. And also then we want to boost in comprehensive internationalization through virtual exchange, and then also have a diverse variety of projects that include now administrative staff and faculty. And then this means that we need to create a culture of virtual exchange, though we need to think about how we can convince our school authorities to design strategies that can actually meet the needs of our students, the staff, faculty, and of course then the needs of our own institution. And well, this is finally, go ahead, Laura.
No, go ahead, I'm sorry.
And this is actually then our last project, which involved faculty and involved the staff. And this was something that was actually done for the first time in both of our institutions. We had already 20 participants that were involved. And then we were thinking about this format of a virtual exchange in which learners of Spanish and Portuguese then were able to have this interaction, and which is something then that it was not done in our universities before. And then sometimes whenever we think about our faculty and about our staff, then they're always neglected. We always put our efforts for our students, but then we also thought then that we should include then our faculty and our staff in these type of initiatives. And then we gave them a very we followed in an agenda that was, we had some sessions that were synchronous, and we had some mediation sessions, and then we also gave them
Okay,
some.
excuse me, sorry, Dr. Perez. I think we've run out of time. If you could just like wrap up in 1 minute, that'll be very good. So we can proceed with the Q&A session. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
No problem. And then actually, this is basically the last slide. So we were thinking about faculty this time by implementing this project was to further collaboration, but now to promote then, joint projects, and also like allowing now every part of the school community to engage in this sort of virtual activities. Then our faculty and our staff, and then our students, all of us together can enjoy of these experiences, and not only concentrating on efforts on the students, because then we believe then that if we convince our faculty and our staff and our leaders then to have this virtual culture, then I believe it will be easier to apply and to work on different projects with a partner that is committed to do this and to experiment with different alternatives, such as we've been doing with Professor Laura in UNESP in Brazil. And that will be all. Thank you so much.
Here are some of
Thank
our
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for such very interesting presentation. So I think with regards to putting together everybody's presentation, it's like it has been very insightful, and it has been very, what you call, enlightening to listen to all that you have done with regards to like getting people to be involved in this particular venture of ours. So let's get to the Q&A session. Is there any questions from the floor? You could actually like raise your hands, and then we'll come to you, and then you can proceed with the questions that you have. No takers? Is there any in the chat box? Okay, if you feel like it's a bit daunting to sort of like just talk about it, you can actually put it on our chat box and I can read it for you. Dr. Khoza, thank you. Great presentations. Well, the speakers, if you have any questions to ask each other, that will also be very good. None? Okay. Okay, let me see if there's any in the chat box. All right. There's one question here from Curtis Chu. How did the collaboration between Brazil and Mexico begin? Was it from FATC? Is that how is that correct? How do I pronounce it? FATEX? Is that correct? Yes. Dr. or Dr. Rampazzo, you can actually address that question. Up to you. It's yours.
Thank you, Curtis. No, actually, the institution in Brazil was Instituto Federal de São Paulo, which was the institution that I worked before, joining São Paulo State University. And it actually started during a virtual conference on virtual exchange. We have met online in a partnering fair, right, Diego? And we just started collaborating from there, which was quite nice.
I have actually one question. So while waiting for the others to actually come up with one, I'll just go ahead with mine. So how do you actually get the students to volunteer? I mean, like for them to be involved in your projects, in your core projects, you actually call them out, or like do you have like a form for them to fill in?
I think it's
Yes,
a little bit different from
Dr.
institution to
Dr.
Laura's.
Perez, sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry then. I think it's a little bit different from my institution to Laura's. But in my case, then what we do is, since we're trying then students to go abroad, then we always then tell them that having these sort of interactions will enable them to, I'm sorry, it's kind of like we're having a heavy rain here in Mexico right now. So I'm so sorry. I hope you
That's
don't hear
okay.
all the noise. Then, what we've been doing is we've been highlighting then the importance of these sort of interactions that are online, and then we actually then encourage students then to get to know people so they can easily adapt to an international environment. And then since some of them are planning to study abroad during any time of their programs, then I mean, this is like, the motivation for them to engage. And since we have also strong culture of language learning, then they see then that practicing with speakers of Portuguese or practicing in English then with other people then, has made these collaborations easier. And then students are more willing then to interact with someone that is a native speaker or who is proficient in the language that they're learning.
You're right. Interesting. So you have like what do you call those who actually collaborated? Are they both from like Portuguese or Spanish, or do you have like other continents that are actually like, engaged in this COIL project of yours?
It was yeah, thank you. It was just Mexico and Brazil involved. We did experiment with VE using English as a lingua franca because we speak Portuguese in Brazil and they speak Spanish in Mexico. But then we also had the bilingual exchanges. And for the staff one, the virtual exchange for staff and faculty, we also had it bilingual, Portuguese and Spanish.
Okay, that's interesting. Right. Okay. Any question from the floor, from the audience? Speakers as well? Guest speakers, if you have any questions, please forward it, or otherwise you can forward it to the chat box. I will read it for you. Right. Okay. Let's see. I think like one of the things that I've noticed throughout the presentation is like Dr. Atiah's tongue twister, the Malay, the Americans speaking in Malay, and then the Malay speaking in English tongue twister thingy. I think that's like very good. That's a very good exercise. I might just try it myself one day. Dr. Atiah, do you have any comments based on that? What's the most funny or the funniest episode that you've had? I know you've shared a few just now, but it's just sort of like give it like a highlights.
I think the highlight would be Eddie saying it in Malay.
Okay.
The fellow COILs doing the tongue twister instead of the student. That was the highlight.
Right. Okay. And then Eddie started it off, and then everybody else followed.
Yeah, that one is after I think her fifth practice with me.
Right. Okay. She's practiced beforehand before presenting to the students. That's cool. Then that's a very nice move. Right. We have one question from Dr. Khoza. How did the Malaysian students and the United States students overcome the quietness? And were there any gender challenges? Okay. I think on my part, there weren't any what do you call gender challenges because I think that we're very much open to that. But in terms of like what Dr. Atiah mentioned about most of our students being very quiet and timid, we managed to overcome that in a way like Atiah overcome that with humor. I think in my case, we somehow got over it with asking them to get to know each other. So we actually created a video of each other and then they share it, and then once they actually get to know each other's hobbies and preferences, and then they found like a mutual interest kind of a thing, especially when music is concerned. After that they managed to talk to each other really well. I think once they've somehow removed that barrier of like not knowing each other, they are very much into it. They could actually talk things out, and then it was really pleasant after that. Right. Okay. Dr. Atiah, would you like to add to that? That's another question from the floor.
Oh, about the equal access to technology. Luckily for us, the university actually, I mean, we have B40, which is underprivileged student in the on the campus, but we also have division here, student division here that help to give free laptops and then free they can use the computer labs here. So in my case, in Malaysia, the student, especially on we have 3 campuses. So in the Gombak campuses, we don't actually face that problem that much. For Eddie case, she also doesn't have that problem. So we are quite privileged in that sense.
Okay, that is actually from DP Chiniona. I think that was the question. How did you cope with inequality among the participants who don't have equal access to technology? I think with regards to my case, I think Dr. Atiah and I, we actually belong to different campuses. My campus is a bit more to the south, but we do have quite a very, what do you call, what's the best word to describe it? Access is really good. We do have like a very nice network here, so we don't really have that kind of an issue. Even with my friends in the United States, Dr. Kelly Crowley, I think over there they have like really good access to technology as well. And as mentioned by Dr. Atiah, we do have labs for our students, computer labs for them to use whenever we have this kind of occasions. It's just that our only challenge is that it's at night because of the 12-hour differences. That's the only challenge because our technicians only work like during the daytime. So if it's at night, it's basically entirely up to us to sort of like manage the whole thing, the whole lab and whatnot. I hope that answers your question, DP. Do we have like any more? How long more do we have? 12:41, 12:44. Any other questions or maybe comments, like highlighted points from each other's presentation? I think Dr. Khoza and Dr. Liu just now mentioned about using movies. So what kind of movies do you use? Dr. Yulan, sorry. Dr. Yulan. Sorry. If I mispronounce, I do apologize.
Yeah, we chose a movie called In the Mood for Love. So
Wow.
that movie was a very famous Hong Kong movie.
Right.
And students from both sides, both institutions, they watch movie and then they discuss what the topic that interest to them.
Right. Dr. Yulan, your students are American students? Or do you have like a diverse group of students in your classroom?
Well, like Dr. Khoza shared early, our classrooms at Howard Community College is very diverse. The students come from diverse background, and my classes, the students sometimes have not only the language diverse, they come from different countries. Our community college have students come from hundreds of different countries, so they're very diverse background.
Oh, that's like so cool. That's really interesting. It should make up like a quite a what do you call, a very delightful conversation amongst them, since like they belong to each other, to different backgrounds. Okay, I have this one. Right. Okay. I think that's about it with our session. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here, and I look forward to meet you one day probably in a different platform, and then maybe, of course, if we can have like COIL projects together. I am very open to have like projects from everybody here and invitations to do projects together. That would be really nice. So maybe we can connect later. Everybody has their emails and everybody has access to those email addresses. And once again, thank you very much for enlightening us with this session. All the best. And I hope you enjoy the rest of this seminar for the rest of the week. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all the invited speakers and speakers. So may I seize the chance to keep you for one more minute? because I want to remind you that actually we are providing different resources that you can access to through the EventX. For example, if you join the EventX schedule, then you will see that actually you can find there's a matching palette here. So if you click it on, it's actually redirect you to the palette that you can find there. Some of our participants has posed for different COIL collaboration opportunities. So if you're interested in working with them, or if you want to call for collaboration opportunities, please do post your opportunities here, and also the courses that interest to ask for partnership. So, and then we also have the networking lounge here. So if you are interested to talk further with different people, then we actually open up here. So if you want to have it live, maybe you join in, then there will be more people will joining on live then. So lastly, I want to share with you the upcoming schedule of today. So this is what we're having after this panel. Um, uh, After the lunch break, then we will have Hong Kong time 2:30. So it should be like the same time as Malaysia as well, right? So we will start with a symposium within our summit. So it is named the Symposium on Virtual Nature and Health. So we have the keynote speaker from Norway and also some other scholars around the world. So please join us if you're interested in the topics. Then quickly break, then we will come to the last keynote speech of today. Then we have Professor Hong from South Korea joining us. So he will be telling that how he tried to motivate and promote virtual exchange as something that South Korea also see something new to them. So how do they promote it? It's like a more commonly used pedagogies in teaching and learning in South Korea. So it's good to take reference on, because there are lots of us, or maybe some institutions, actually starting to kick off their COIL collaborations. So, and then afterwards, we have two different panels. One is of inequality, access and inclusion in global exchange. The other one is on intercultural competence and quality teaching. We do want to see you, because we are having some more speakers from other places joining us because of the time difference. So we have some other speakers from Europe joining us, and also from like other parts, like from Brazil as well. So we do want to see you also in later today. So thank you so much. And I also noticed that there's some of you from the US, and it's quite late now. Thank you, Professor Liu, and also we have also Professor Khoza, right? So thank you very much. I know it's very late in the US already. So thank you so much for joining us, despite, that's a big time difference. So we do appreciate to see you. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, our wonderful panel moderator, Noah. So thank you. So we do wish to see you in the upcoming time. So thank you for all. So please let us know if there's anything you want to know, and please do not forget to fill up our evaluation form. So I think Maggie is going to share you our evaluation form, and we do have a QR code you can quickly scan. Then you can also share us your feedback. So yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate your feedbacks and wish to see you a little bit later, and also tomorrow. Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay, do we have this in our emails? The QR code?
We will.
Sure.
We will send
Yeah.
again later. But then if you want to have a quick response, then please do it right away.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks,
Thank
Maggie.
you.
Thank you. Have a good night and good day then.
Yeah, have
Thank
a good
you.
evening. Those who
Yeah.
are like
Yeah.
midnight is there.
Yeah. Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Oh,